Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishriti Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Can you send this link to this devotee?
You see Zoom.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 11th chapter, verse number 17. Bhatrave, 5th canto, 5, 11, 17. Bhatraevam tad adharam viryam.
Bhadravyamenam tadapadabrahviryam.
Upshe, upad, sorry, what is that? Upshe, upekshadityam aparamattam.
Upekshayadhyedhidamabhramatta.
Gurur Hare charanopashta astro.
Guru Hare Charanopasyanastro.
Jiva Vyakilam Swayamatma Mosham.
Jahi Vyalikam Swayamatma Mosham.
Please recite.
Dabraviryam
Bhadravyam Upekshayadhyedhidamabhramatta. Guru Hare Charanopasyanastro. Jahi Vyalikam Swayamatma Mosham. Bhadravyamenam tadadabraviryam. Bhadravyamenam tadadabraviryam. Upekshayadhyedhidamabhramatta. Upekshayadhyedhidamabhramatta. Guror Hare Charanopasyanastro. Guror Hare Charanopasyanastro. Jahi Vyalikam Swayamatma Mosham. Jahi Vyalikam Swayamatma Mosham.
Bhatravyamenam tadadabraviryam.
Bhadravyamenam tadadabraviryam.
Upekshayadhyedhidam abramatta.
Upekshayadhyedhidamabhramatta.
Gurur Hare Charanopasyanastro.
Gurur Hare Charanopasyanastro.
Jahi Vyalikam Swayamatma Mosham.
Jahi Vyalikam Swayamatma Mosham.
Word meaning and Bhatraevam,
Bhadravyam,
the formidable enemy.
the formidable enemy.
Enam,
Enam,
this mind.
this mind.
Tat,
Tat,
that.
that.
Abhadra Viryam,
Adapraviryam,
very, very powerful.
very powerful.
Upeksha,
Upeksha,
by neglecting.
by neglecting.
Abhyatyam, adhyatyam. Adhyayatam, unnecessarily increased in power.
Unnecessary increase in power.
Aparmata,
Aparamata,
one who is without illusion.
one who is without illusion.
Guru,
Guru,
of the spiritual master.
of the spiritual master.
Hare,
Hare,
of the supreme personality of Godhead.
of the supreme personality.
Charana, of the lotus feet.
Of the lotus feet.
Pasna astra,
Upasanastra,
applying the weapon of worship.
applying the weapon of worship.
Jahi,
Jahi,
conquer.
conquer.
Vyakilam,
Vyakam,
false.
false.
Swayam,
Swayam,
personally.
personally.
Atma motion,
Atma motion,
which covers the constitutional position of the living entity.
which covers the constitutional position of the living entity.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
This uncontrolled mind is greatest enemy of the living entity. If one neglects it or gives it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful and will become victorious. Although it is not factual, it is very strong. It covers the constitutional position of the soul. O king, please try to conquer this mind by the weapon of the service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master and of the supreme personality of Godhead. Do this with great care. Purport. This is one easy weapon with which the mind can be conquered, that is, neglect. The mind is always telling us to do this or that. Therefore, we should be very expert in disobeying the mind's order. Gradually, the mind should be trained to obey the orders of the soul. It is not that one should obey the orders of the mind. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that to control the mind, one should beat it with shoes many times just after awakening and again before going to the sleep. In this way, one can control the mind. This is the instructions of all the Shastras. If one does not do so, one is doomed to follow the dictations of the mind. Another bona fide process is to abide strictly by the orders of the spiritual master and engage in the Lord's service. Then the mind will be automatically controlled. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed Srila Rupa Goswami, Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Beej. When one receives the seed of devotional service by the mercy of the Guru and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's real life begins. If one abides by the order of the spiritual master, by the grace of Krishna, he is freed from the service to the mind. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport for the 5th canto, 11th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Jada Bharat Instructs King Graham. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshununmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamishya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurati Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. First of all, I like to seek blessings of Vijay Prabhu, so that I can speak something on the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam as a service to all of you and glorification of the Supreme Lord and purification of my heart. So, this verse was chosen especially to understand the nature of the mind, how the mind is one of the greatest enemy or one of the greatest friend. You know, it's all about the training. How do we train the mind? How do we control the mind? It all depends, whether the mind is our friend or mind is our enemy. If we are not able to train the mind, then mind is one of the greatest enemies. And if we are able to train the mind very nicely, then the mind becomes one of the greatest friend. Everyone is aware of this thing. We have been practicing spiritual life for some period of time. Everyone understands that if we are not able to control the mind, then mind is one of the greatest enemy. And it's ready to make us do whatever he likes. It's like, it's, yeah, there's a very beautiful story which I had heard. you know there was a disciple who wanted to get initiated by a guru. It was very old, so he wanted to get initiated by a guru, and he was facing a lot of problem with the mind, and the guru knew this process, and so the guru asked, I want you to understand the nature of the mind. He told, okay, but he was not able to pay attention. So the guru told, okay, let us do something with you. And he told, okay, you want to get initiated? He told, yes, yes, Guru Maharaj, I definitely want to get initiated. But I'll give you initiation tomorrow, after a couple of days. But for a couple of days, you should do one thing. You should not think of a black chimpanzee. Yeah, black chimpanzee. And then this disciple told, that's a very small thing, Guru. I can definitely do that and come back after 2 days and take initiation. But then, he went back, and next day he came running to his guru and he told, what have you told me? The moment I left the ashram and went away, from that time onwards, I've been just thinking of a black chimpanzee only. I'm not able to get rid of that chimpanzee figure from my mind. Now, how does he look? Where does he live? What is he doing? Everything like that. And he was just going on thinking. And next day he came and he told, okay, Guru told, okay, now still I'll give you a second option. Just think of the chimpanzee right now, right at this moment. He closed his eyes and he was trying to concentrate. And he was not able to think of chimpanzee at all. And Guru told, this is the nature of the mind. That the mind is so strong that it will ask you to do what is not to be done. And it will make you do what is not to be done. And it will make you do what has to be done. So that is the nature of the mind. In Srimad Bhagavatam also, the nature of the mind has been explained very nicely, where so many places, one of the place it is told how the mind acts actually, how the mind controls. The nature of the mind is, it's like a mad monkey. First of all, monkeys, we have seen in Vrindavan, how the monkeys act, and it's like, you cannot control the monkey. You just cannot control the monkey. You just ask him to sit at one place, it's not possible for him to sit at one place. So it's not possible for him to control the monkey. And what happens if the monkey is mad? Monkey is mad, it will not be in zero control. And what if the monkey, this mad monkey, has been bitten by a scorpion? Just imagine the pain what he's going through, and he's mad and he's monkey. And what, while coming out of the pain, he happens to find a bottle, and he in that bottle there is liquor, and he drinks that liquor thinking it to be some water or some medicine, and he gets drunk. So first of all he's a monkey, second he is mad monkey, and third he is bitten by a scorpion, and now he is drunk. Just understand that is what. And the lastly, and he is going around the tree which is haunted by a ghost, and that ghost has entered the body of a monkey. So this is what Bhagavatam compares our mind to, like a monkey which is like so mad, haunted by a ghost, you know, drunk and bitten by a scorpion and is mad. So, the mind actually can make a fool of that person. So, this is like the strong nature of this mind, that mind can do. Um, Other thing, like, the mind, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada also tells, mind which is not controlled is like an unchaste woman, unchaste wife. When a wife is married to a husband, and if the wife is not chaste, what happens? He gets a lot of paramours by default. And what are the paramours, of the mind? What are the paramours of the mind?
Sense objects.
Sense objects, yes. Lust, greed, anger, envy, pride, illusion. All these are nothing but like the paramours of the mind. They are the one, who are ready to devour the conditioned soul like anything. They just want to, wipe out that living entity. And if the living entity is trying to practice some spiritual life, he has got six enemies actually in one way. Six, the unchaste wife has got the six paramours. And these paramours, what they will do, even if one paramour becomes very strong, will just kill the husband. The husband has to be so vigilant, has to be so attentive when it comes to an unchaste wife. If he's not able to take control, if he's not able to control the uh, wife, the unchaste wife, then it's like definitely death is for sure for him, or else he will be divorced from the wife, in one way. But we cannot divorce our mind. So that's how, but they will be definitely, there will be fight, there will be a, death in one way for this thing. So wherever the mind wanders, wherever the senses are wandering, the mind goes behind that thing. This thing very seriously. But the problem is, our mind actually wants to go and get that pleasure from sense object, because it has stored lot of, this lot of thoughts, lot of he has accumulated lot of thoughts, lot of inputs, and those inputs are not pure. Because the inputs are not so pure, what happens, it automatically wants to, go and go and get that pleasure, because the inputs are very very impure. The thoughts which he has stored in the mind are very very impure. Because of that thing, it's very difficult for the mind to think on the pure things. And because it's not able to think on the pure things, it's very difficult actually that, it can just think of the right things. So wherever the mind wanders, wherever the senses wander, the mind actually goes behind it. But strong intelligence is required to bring back that mind to the right thinking, right willing process. We have many stories about, how little inattentiveness can cause a great problem. Anyone has any story about this thing? you know I have one story which I want to see if it's very beautiful. That story is of from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. you know One of the great associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling, while going to South India. Nityanand Prabhu and others, they wanted to travel with him. But then, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected everyone. Bole, no, I cannot take all of you. I want to go alone. But then finally, devotees told that, you can take one servant. Who was that?
Krishnadas.
Kal Krishnadas. Kal Krishnadas was one who was assigned to travel with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Kal Krishnadas was traveling all over South India. And he at one place became little inattentive. And he was carried away. His mind was carried away with the attraction of the woman of Bhattacharyas. And because of that attraction, what had happened? He became attracted. And at the night, he left Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knew this thing and he's serving the Lord, but then he left him and then wanted to come and, associate with the woman of the Bhattacharyas. And it was like so difficult, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as soon as he saw what was happening, that my own servant I've been losing that servant. And he wanted to save Kal Krishnadas. So he came back to Bhattacharyas and he requested, please give my servant back. I just want my servant back. And then but they became so wild at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They took out the weapons, and they wanted to attack Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When they took out the weapons and they were about to throw towards Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their swords and everything like that, what happened? All the swords, they actually turned towards them and they attacked them and they killed most of the Bhattacharyas. And after seeing all these things, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dragged Kal Krishnadas with his hair, back to the back with him to travel around. So we understand, even a close associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if he is inattentive, what happens? If he is inattentive, he is being carried away by the mind. So mind is so strong, at that nature, at that point also where we are serving the Supreme Lord, mind can get attracted by the, sense objects. So it's very, very strong. So, it is asked, never trust the mind. But then whom do we trust? Whom do we trust? We trust the instructions, yes, instructions of the Guru, the lotus feet of Guru. Here it is told that Guru Charna Upasana Shastra, Upasana Astra. Now applying the weapon of worshipping the lotus feet of Guru and the Supreme Lord. This is something which is so wonderful actually. If one somehow or the other make this weapon as a sword and fights with the mind, then it becomes very, very easy actually. But the mind is always like that. Mind is chanchalahi mana Krishna pramarthi bala dridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayu rivasa dushkaram. Arjuna is telling this thing, that to control the wind is more easier. For us, it's easier to control the wind. We are at that level to control the wind. No, we get carried away with the wind only. But then Arjuna is able to control the wind. For him, he is telling that the restless mind, the mind which is restless, turbulent, and obstinate, and very strong, it's very, very difficult, very, very difficult to control. Why it is pramarti? It's like the mind is so very strong actually, that so it just does not give any, the mind is restless and the mind is very, very strong, very strong. And other thing is, it's very, very very strong in his nature. Whatever it wants, like there are many examples, that the mind somehow, if it makes carry, there is one more example of this mm, what is called the highway thieves. Prabhupada compares in the fifth canto somewhere, that how the mind is compared to the highway thieves, highway robbers. As soon as the robbers see that there is some uh, some um, um, some travelers who are traveling, they want to loot him, or want to steal from them. What they do is, they throw sand. They actually throw sand on this travelers. Why they throw sand? Why not mud or anything like that?
Blocks their vision.
Yes, it blocks their vision. Sand is very, very subtle also. As soon as you throw, as soon as if sand particles goes in the eyes, it's very difficult that you can see it very clearly. So they use the sand actually, very fine sand, and they throw it actually on the thieves. The thieves throws on the travelers, and as soon as it goes, it's like the sand immediately covers. So same way, it's very, very subtle. The sand which throws and goes in the eyes is very subtle, not and it's very, very subtle. So same way, what happens when a devotee is trying to serve the Lord, and trying to serve, do a service to the Supreme Lord, but the mind very, very cunningly, actually very, very cunningly, he takes away our interest by dragging it away from the Lord. Why? Because it gets attracted to sense objects, and mind knows exactly where we are weak. Exactly, he knows where we are weak. If someone is weak in controlling the tongue, for him the main thing mind will attract is that, where is gulab jamun, or where is rasgulla, or where is any sweet. If someone is weak at seeing, his eyes are not controlled, then he is, or by default the mind takes it to watching beautiful things of this world, which are not so beautiful. Mind wants to take it there. Or someone is very, very strong, has taste in hearing, then he's carried away with the music. from the materialistic music. So mind actually is very subtle. It gives a lot of temptations, and that is the nature of the mind, that it wants to bring and give lot of temptations to the mind, to the living entity. And if we have doubt, the doubts and desires, that the result of this misconception and the temptations are that they are very, very slow. That makes our journey very slow. In fact, sometimes what happens is we get stuck up in the process of devotional service, because our taste is not increasing in devotional service. Why our taste is not increasing in devotional service? Because we have great amount of attraction for the sense objects, because mind is presenting it, mind is tempting us, and we are getting carried away with these temptations. So it's very, very tough actually, that we are how can we overcome these temptations? How can we overcome these temptations of the mind?
Develop higher taste.
Okay, developing higher taste. So how do we develop that higher taste?
Regulated regulations.
Regulations. Okay.
Regulated.
Regulated devotional service. What else? How do we control the mind now? Or how do we give up the temptations of the mind? How do we give up?
I think I'd like to say just a systematic control as well would be something
Systematic control, systematic way of controlling the mind. One is regulation. Regulation is such an important aspect actually, in one way. If your life becomes very, very regulated, then it's very easy for the mind to do. Another thing is, if you allow the mind to give his own inputs, then it becomes very, very difficult. They are very, very difficult. Why? What happens is, one is, if you are ideal, if you don't have anything to do, then mind has something else for us to do. So if you don't have, any plan for the day, then make sure the mind is definitely have some plan. You can take your bed and go to sleep. That is the best thing mind will tell you. Oh, you're tired, you have been working for 5 days, and today is Saturday. Why go out for book distribution? What is there? I can just go in the bed, it's like so warm. Let me just go inside the bed and sleep very nicely. That is something like the mind is looking forward for. And mind gives a lot of excuses. It's like the excuse, what can we call excuse account. What mind has is so much, so big, that he has hundreds of thousands of excuses. For any service you don't want to do, there are thousands of service excuses what the mind can give. So the mind, if it is not regulated, if the mind is not controlled, then it's very difficult. Other thing is, mind is not controlled because one of the things is he's not satisfied. He's not satisfied. There is no satisfaction. And why there is no satisfaction? Because we are always comparing. The mind has got, Gaurang Prabhu tells us these things very wonderfully. The three cancers of the mind. Anyone knows the three cancers of the mind? He's comparing, complaining, and criticizing. These are like the three cancers of the mind. It's always comparing actually. I got this devotee, this devotee got this and I did not get this. Why did this person get this one? In the job, there is always comparison. In devotional service, there is always comparison. When we are at, at the same time, when two devotees come, why was he given the post before me? Why is he made in charge? Or why is he given the facility? This comparison is always there actually. And the mind actually is like that, comparing everything. Comparing. And it makes our life so miserable actually, because of comparing. And then there is always complaining. If any person he is not able to do anything, then you complain. Bole, Prabhu, he is doing like this. Prabhu, this devotee is not able to cook simple khichdi also. This is what people will start complaining. He's not able to get up in the morning. That is a complaint. Because of him, I did not get up. That is one of the complaints. If you don't get up, well, this is not my problem, Prabhuji. He did not get up. I saw him and I took inspiration from him. So that is where he complains. That is what mind gives. Small reasons I can tell you. It's like anything is there, he starts complaining. And you see, this is what is the back subtle mind always crying baby. It's like his mind is like a small crying baby, keep crying for small things. Prabhu, this is there. Prabhu, that is there. If there is nothing also, then still he'll make out something to cry. And if there is nothing, then he'll start criticizing the devotees or criticizing the surroundings. So this is very strong nature of the mind. These are like the three cancers of the mind, which takes the living entity or which takes the person, leave devotional service. Sometimes it's not just the devotional service. The devotional service becomes like a burden after some time, because we are being, covered with this cancer like self in our mind. Then we don't get that taste. Higher taste is missing, because we are being diseased by this cancer actually, the cancers of the mind actually. So because of the cancer of the disease, there is doubt and desires that are, always taking us away from devotional service. So how do we overcome this three diseases, this uh, cancers of disease? How do we do this thing? Anyone has any solution? What is the nature of not um comparing? So when the mind starts comparing, what do we do?
Keeping more grateful for what Krishna has given.
Yes, being more grateful for what Krishna has given. And
We can appreciate the other two.
we
We
can
are
appreciate,
comparing them.
yes, appreciation of the devotee, seeing good in others actually, being satisfied with what we have got. We have got so much. Actually, somehow, our mind always has a tendency to see towards the negative side. We don't see at the positive side. What I am lacking, he thinks. Always he thinks that way. But if you see what I have got, that also, if you start counting, it's like counting the blessings. If you keep counting the blessings, oh, I got such a beautiful body. At least I've got a body which I am using. Sometimes you see a person who is physically handicapped, then you really understand what he is going through and what I am going through. We get something nice to eat here, very very nice cooked prasad. Sometimes people don't get anything. You see the homeless people around. That is like a blessing for us. When we see we have got such a beautiful shelter to live with, and not just shelter, but we have got the association of devotees. So that is like, some blessings what we can count. But if we don't count these blessings now, then there is always this negative things what we count. Prabhu, this is not there. Prabhu, that is not there. Arey Baba, count what you have got also. Then your mind becomes satisfied. Or else mind is always running after, what I am not there. So this gratitude has to be developed. This satisfaction has to develop. So when this satisfaction and gratitude is developed, then it becomes very easy for the mind to overcome this cancerous cell of complaining, comparing, and then complaining. How do we overcome complaining? What is the reason we complain? First of all,
Unfulfilled desire.
yes, unfulfilled desires. Okay, why do we complain? We complain because of, we are personally getting we are personally, suffering. Our personal in what do you call, not personal, this is our personal inability to do something makes us complain about others. Like I am not able to do any service, then I start complaining about someone who is doing able to do this service properly. That is always there. That complaining nature comes. Or there is some mismanagement happening, immediately there is complaining. Give some time to the management also. Things are not going proper, then you always have to give time for the things to take place properly. But we start complaining about that stuff. Or there is some injustice which has happened, or someone has misbehaved, then there is always this complaining thing happening. But we never understand the situation why it is complaining. And as soon as there is complaining mode, then anger arises. There is anger which is always attacking us. So how do we overcome this complaining mode? By, as he was telling, by appreciating others, by seeing how much others are doing. If we see that how much others are doing and how much, we are doing, then we can definitely overcome this complaining mode. And forgiving others actually, sometimes every man, every person is a human being, and to make an error is a common thing what a person can do. It's like everyone does a mistake. We have done a lot of mistakes, others are tolerating it. The same way we also tolerate and we also forgive that person, whoever is making that. And then we should not criticize others. Criticism is something Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told. Two things he told we should not do. One is, if you criticize a devotee, and no, other thing he told, if you chant the holy name of the Lord and if you don't criticize devotees, then definitely I'll take you back to Godhead. There's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'm not remembering it, but this is what it tells. If you do these two things, one is chanting Hare Krishna every day, and then just not criticizing the devotees, then you are eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So when we criticize, we always want to see bad in others. We're not at all like, we want to just see little bit, small bad also is there. We want to magnify that thing. And the reason why we criticize is because there is a lot of pride in our hearts. And because of criticism, sometimes we commit so much disharmony. It becomes like a very it is like a time when people don't cooperate with each other. They are like disharmony among them, and people don't cooperate, or because of this thing there are a lot of offenses which we make, and that lacks our devotional service like anything. It just makes our devotional service like, then there is no taste what we get in chanting, no taste in reading, no taste in hearing, no taste in doing any services, because we have been criticizing or doing this thing. Another thing is, how do we overcome this thing? How do we not criticize devotee? Is by becoming humble actually. If we become humble at the mind, at the state of our consciousness, Trinadapi Sunichina, Tarorapi Saishuna, Amanina Manana, Kirtaniya Sadai, trying to give respect to everyone, then we can overcome this tendency of criticizing. Another important aspect is, we should never miss an opportunity to glorify devotees. Any opportunity we get, if we don't glorify the devotees, then we are like, more or less not taking advantage of criticizing the devotees. So this is what I was thinking now. Now it's almost 7:55, 56. So if you have any thought, you can please correct me, or give some very wonderful realizations.
Krishna says in the Gita, Sahajam Karma Kunti, in every endeavor there's a fault.
Yes.
So we shouldn't be surprised if there's
Yeah. If someone makes a
there's
fault.
fault in ourselves.
Yes.
So yeah. But nice class, thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
thank you for the nice class. So the first cancer you're saying is comparison, but is it possible also to kind of overcome that, or say if we see some other devotee performing this very nice service and we not compare, but we see that, oh wow, they're very elevated and advanced, and if we compare that with ourselves and we're not at that level, and instead of taking that as a bad influence, it actually inspires us to do more service, would that also be something that we can do to kind of overcome that comparison? Or
Yeah, that's correct actually. Comparing and getting inspired, that is very wonderful. Like always, Srila Prabhupada always wanted to have this competition among devotees. It was like healthy competition, that this temple is doing so much book distribution. LA was doing so much book distribution. What about New York? And there was always this healthy competition what Srila Prabhupada wanted. And if that competition was making devotees do services enthusiastically, then that competition is very healthy competition. And that competition is required. Nowadays, there is no competition only. That is a fault, that is somehow is lacking between the devotees, that they are not comparing, in a healthy way. If they compare it and then they start doing book distribution more and more, then we can see the results, what it can come. But nowadays, people are like so into their own lives that it's very difficult for them to go out for book distribution. So there is no healthy competition. There is no competition in one way. If someone is going out for books, okay, Prabhu, you are going very nice. We can just give you blessings from our homes, or from our temples. But it's like hardly any, okay, Prabhu, let me also come. It's like not there. Or you are doing this much, let me do this much. So that comparison is always good. Healthy comparisons. Yes. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
So sometimes we may have some tasks that may be very difficult, or they may demand a lot of our attention or time in those tasks, and our mind may not be fully in control. So we may try to procrastinate or put aside the difficult tasks. So in those kind of situations, how do we do? Especially if it's not exactly devotional service,
Mhm.
like it could be work, it could be studying for a course or something like that.
Mhm.
So in those situations, how do we control our mind and get it to do it as a service, like basically doing work as worship?
Yeah. So ideally, what should be done is if if you are taking a course, or if you are taking something new, or if you want to work bring out something good in your work and everything like that, the mind has to be initially be given this small task. Okay, I need to do this thing, and let me give a priority, that okay, I'll do during so and so time. This time I have to just fix on doing this thing, rather than I should not get distracted with so many different things. And small thing actually, that the mind may know that it's very tough for me to, if I enter doing this course, or if I enter to study this thing, it will be little tough for me. So we slowly train the mind, giving it little by little by little. It's like a small steps what we give to the mind, and the mind can take it very easily. But if you tell the mind that oh, you have to do this much, then it's always like, oh my god, I cannot do. He'll just lose the battle before this thing also, before entering the battle. Like how Bhurijan Prabhu tells this, that if you tell the mind that I have to chant 16 rounds, then mind is always thinking, oh my god, 16 rounds is a big thing. But you tell 16 good rounds, if you want to hear, then he tells, tell the mind, okay, just hear one mantra, just one mantra at a time. If you give that logic to the mind also for doing anything, small steps, it's like small steps. If you give, then it becomes very easy for the mind to take it. But if you give many things, if you load the mind to do big things at a time, then it will be very difficult. Like Janmashtami is coming now. If you want to do Janmashtami services, it's like big services are there. But if you start planning properly and doing little by little, then by the end of Janmashtami you can do a lot. But if you just think, okay, I have to do big thing at a time only, then it's not possible. So we have to just break down our task and give the mind little by little by little, and then the mind can do it very easily. But rather than, if you want to give a lot to the mind, then it's not possible. So mind is also like a small child actually. If a big task is done, that the child is asked to build a building, he will tell, oh my god, this is not my cup of tea. That is the first thing, he will run away from that thing. But then if you tell, you just need to contact a contractor, ask them to do this thing, that thing. Slow by slow, within like 6 months, there will be small foundation which may be built up, and then the building can come up very strongly. So that is how we can train our mind to do even the big things also. Don't give a big task to the mind thinking that it's very difficult. And you should never tell the mind, or think that this task is very difficult. There's no task which is very difficult actually for the mind. It's only how we perceive it. We think that it's very tough. It's never tough actually. Like people who are studying so hard outside in the material world, if they start thinking that, oh, I just cannot complete, if they see this book, this is like 600 700 pages book, and I have to read it within a month or within a week and learn everything, it's not possible. But what they do is they start reading couple of pages, couple of themes, they start catching, and they keep revising again and again. And then eventually what happens is they learn everything actually over a period of time. So it has to be like properly planned and properly given. The inputs to the mind should be given very properly. So if we give like that, then it becomes very easy. And the last thing before we end is this, I did not tell about the 4S, how to calm down the raging mind. I'll just tell within a half minute. One is satisfaction, we were discussing, giving up unhealthy comparisons, practicing gratitude, and diverting our mind to do the right things, like reading every day, reading, giving the right inputs to the mind, reading Ramayana, Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So many books are there. So if we give the right inputs, then the mind becomes very, very satisfied. And there should be silence actually. There is no need of useless talks what the mind is wandering around. The mind is so much actually wandering around the useless talks, avoiding rumors, backbiting, useless gossips, what is happening around the world will keep going on. Even if you talk, if you don't talk, the world will keep going on. Trump will bring his policies every day, and it will go after some time. You will not be bothered also. But if we start discussing about those things, it's all useless talks. So for that, one has to give up this useless talk. But speak what is required. Speak, trying to make others more Krishna conscious by our talk. That is very important. And then the third S is, one is satisfaction, other is silence, third is simplicity. Being simple actually, avoiding a frivolous speech and behavior, leading a simple life, and not being duplicity, and always trying to do good for others. So that life of simplicity is very, very important. And the fourth S is self-control. Self-control versus sense gratification. Not indulging in anything. The mind knows where we are very, very weak and how to overcome that weakness. One should just not give it. As Prabhupada was telling, the first thing, what is the weapon to overcome the mind is neglect. So we neglect the thoughts which the mind is giving us for engaging in sense gratification. So for that, one should practice this match formula, practicing mercy, austerity, truthfulness, cleanliness, and chanting, by which we can easily control the self. And fourth is sanctification, purification of one existence through chanting the holy name of the Lord, and especially, treating everyone with great respect and seeing every woman as a mother, and not to exploit our wealth and others. So if we do this thing, 5S, then it's very easy to overcome the raging mind. This is actually one of the PPTs of Radheshyam Prabhu which I had seen. So I'm just telling this 5S from his PPT: satisfaction, silence, simplicity, self-control, and sanctification. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhaktavrind ki jai, Nitai Gaur.
Especially Gopal Thakur.